Hello and welcome to the week ahead from the Financial Times in London. Here's what we'll be watching in the coming week. The Bank of Japan is under pressure to explain how it will meet its inflation target. We'll have more details on the BoJ's plans when it meets on Wednesday. FedEx is set to report its quarterly results. And can Pope Francis deliver on one of his key goals of fostering interfaith dialogue? He's due to meet several of the world's religious leaders in Assisi. First up, the stakes are high for the Bank of Japan, which is set to meet for a, quote, comprehensive assessment of its effort to drive up inflation to 2%. Japan's economy has made some progress, with second quarter GDP revised upwards to an annualized rate of 0.7%, and unemployment continues to fall. But the central bank's ambitions to tackle deflation have so far failed to deliver. Headline prices, dragged down by cheap oil and a stronger yen, are 0.4% lower than a year ago. Even more alarmingly for the BoJ is that underlying inflation is also on the slide, and companies doubt prices will rise in the future. That means the central bank is under pressure to explain how it will act over the next year or two in order to push prices towards its target. Analysts are widely split on what it might do. 23 out of 43 analysts surveyed by Bloomberg expect a policy move. The other 20 do not. Here's our Tokyo Bureau Chief, Robin Harding, on what to watch out for at the meeting on Wednesday.
The Bank of Japan's meeting that concludes on Wednesday the 21st is no normal occasion. It marks the conclusion of the BoJ's comprehensive assessment of its monetary policy. There are a lot of moving parts, but here are a few things to look out for. Number one, do they drop the pledge, repeatedly missed, to reach 2% inflation in about 2 years? Number two, what do they say about negative interest rates? And number three, do they adjust their asset purchase program to reduce the amount of buying of the longest term bonds so banks find it easier to make money?
Now over to FedEx, the world's largest cargo air shipper, which is expected to report strong revenue growth for its fiscal first quarter. Part of that growth will be a reflection of FedEx's purchase of TNT, a Dutch logistics company, that they bought for $4.8 billion in June. The fiscal quarter marks the first full quarter since the deal closed, and analysts will be listening closely for indications from management about how TNT will affect earnings during the rest of fiscal 2017. FedEx has previously suggested that the TNT deal could eat into profits this year, a prospect that sent the company's share price plummeting after its last earnings report in June. Despite that drop, though, FedEx's share price is up 8% since the beginning of the year. Leslie Hook in San Francisco has more on the challenges facing FedEx in the coming months.
Now, one of the long-term threats to FedEx's business could be competition from Amazon. The Seattle-based retailer is one of FedEx's biggest customers, but Amazon is building its own cargo fleet and already has around 40 cargo jets. Now, analysts at Moody's think that FedEx can weather this threat fine and point out that Amazon is only 3% of total shipping volume. But this will certainly be something to keep an eye on in Tuesday's earnings call.
Analysts are expecting quarterly sales of around $14.6 billion, according to S&P Capital IQ. This is up 18% from the same period a year ago. And finally, Pope Francis is heading to the central Italian city of Assisi on Tuesday for a landmark interfaith meeting with other top religious leaders around the world. The event is to commemorate the 30th anniversary of Pope John Paul II's similar prayer for peace in the dying years of the Cold War. Anglican Archbishop Justin Welby of Canterbury is among those attending the meeting, alongside Muslim, Jewish, and Buddhist leaders. Our correspondent in Rome explains why this meeting is so important to Pope Francis.
Pope Francis has often said that he took the helm of the Catholic Church at a time of great turmoil, of a third world war in pieces. But he has also stressed that this should not be seen as a religious war. This is why next week's interfaith meeting in Assisi is so important to him. Even at the risk of attracting considerable criticism from conservative Catholics, he wants to position himself as one of the great bridge builders in the world.
The 79-year-old Argentine pontiff has sought to shake up the Roman Catholic Church in many ways since he ascended to the papacy in 2013. He will be hoping that the high-profile event will help foster two key but extremely challenging goals: to stem the persecution of Christians, particularly in the Middle East, and to promote the integration of Muslims and the protection of refugees in Europe. So far, his efforts on both fronts have produced mixed results. And that's what the week ahead looks like from the Financial Times in London.